Welcome, Maximilian Philipp.
Millie, jetzt geht's weiter mit
It's
den
time
Fragen
for a set of questions. I'm going to ask you 5 short questions and you give short answers. Whatever comes to your mind first. The way from Freiburg to Dortmund is
Dortmund ist
Long.
What does number 20 mean to you?
Not much.
The Signal Iduna Park is
The city's heart.
victory in the Under-21 Championships was
My biggest success.
your first goal for BVB was
Indescribable.
Unbeschreiblich.
Es läuft ja wirklich.
Things are going really well for you in your new team here in Dortmund. German sports magazine Kicker gave you an A grade in the last check. What needs to change for an A+?
Sagen, fehlt noch zu einer glatten 1.
Ja, natürlich kann man sich
Of course, you can always improve.
Ich denke, ich hatte jetzt auch einige Spiele,
I think there were some matches where I didn't play that well.
Ich muss auf jeden Fall
I
konstanter
definitely
bleiben
need
in
to
meiner
become more
Leistung.
constant.
Nicht immer ein gutes Spiel und ein schlechtes
I don't
Spiel,
want to
sondern
play alternating good and bad matches, but to achieve a constantly good level. I'm still young, so I can definitely learn and improve.
daran verbessern.
Du fackelst ja.
You're not thinking twice in front of goal now. You just shoot, goal, and that's it. That used to be different a while ago, when you were much more selfless and always passed the ball to someone else.
Eigennütziger. Da hast du den Ball immer noch abgespielt.
Ja,
Yes, Freiburg's coach Streich taught me to try to score myself because sometimes I'm too selfless, even though I have a good shooting technique.
das
You do.
Yes, it's all right.
Ja, ist ganz okay.
Now I know how to use it and I'm trying to get into a good scoring position more often. If I get the chance to shoot at the goal, I use it. But if I see someone in a better position, of course I pass the ball. I'm not selfish and it's not about me scoring the goals. The team needs to score, that's the most important thing.
So, jetzt ist es an der Zeit,
Now it's time for Tell Me.
doch mal zu wechseln und
We found someone who knows Millie very well and who wants to ask him something.
gerne einmal eine Frage stellen möchte.
Millie, mein Freund.
Hi Millie. As you know, I always have interesting questions for you. At SC Freiburg, we tried hard every day to find the perfect woman for you because a great guy like you needs a perfect woman. For 2 or 3 years, we haven't been successful. That's why we want to know your plan for Dortmund. What are you going to do to find the right woman? Or what makes you sure you'll find her there? We cross our fingers. And if you find her, take her to Freiburg so we can meet her. Good luck.
Great, isn't
Das
it?
ist so eine
He's
Ratte.
such a rat. He'll get that back.
Great guy, right?
Super Typ, ja. Nils.
Yes, Niels is a great guy. He's really funny and a role model for me. I really like him, and we still talk sometimes. He's cheeky, just as we saw.
Wie man hier sieht.
And of course, you have to answer his question. How are you going to find the perfect woman in Dortmund? Well, he needs an answer.
Er muss ja was hören, ne?
Ja, das ist eine gute Frage.
That's a good question. I'm not really looking for it. I'm just going to see what happens. I'm spontaneous, open-minded and honest. I'm just going to take things as they come.
Deswegen lasse ich da alles auf mich
Ein
zukommen.
ganz toller Junge. Ja, es ist aber nicht das erste Mal, dass
Well, it's not the first time you've taken each other for a ride. What's the background?
Vorgeschichte. Gibt's da eine?
The background, that's a good question.
Gute Frage.
There were some other effronteries. I once drove his car to another place,
Oder
and little jokes like that.
so ein paar kleine Streiche.
Nice.
Ein paar Unterhosen in der
Hiding his underpants in the freezer.
Großartig. Mit wem bist du hier bei uns besonders?
Is there someone else you get along with especially well at BVB?
Verstehe ich mich besonders gut?
Ja, eigentlich verstehe ich mich mit allen ganz gut. Also,
I get along well with everyone. It's like one big family where you can talk to everyone.
Man quatscht halt miteinander. Mit
And I
Roman kenn
already
ich-
knew
Roman kenn
Roman.
ich halt noch
We're
von
talking
früher.
more often.
Mit dem habe ich ein bisschen mehr zu tun.
And Eula, he's nearly my
Fast
age.
mein Alter.
It's fun on and off the field. The away match trips are always fun. There's always plenty to laugh about. It's a great team.
Truppe.
Jetzt machen wir noch.
Now let's take a nice selfie. Let's have a look.
Hobby. Wir wünschen euch.
Well, we wish you a nice weekend. See you soon. Bye bye.
Tschüss, macht's gut.
In the end, joy and relief at the 5-0 win in Magdeburg, where so many favourites have stumbled before. At a 7th consecutive spot in the last 16 of the German Cup. At the 17th consecutive away win in the Cup. At a focused and serious performance that relieved pressure after 3 games without a win. It was a game full of great moments, one of which was the special nature of the fixture for our captain.
I played there for 3 years and lived in Magdeburg for 17. It'll be a really special moment to run out in that stadium and play a competitive game there.
The first magical moment occurred before the game as the 3rd Division side delivered a fantastic choreography.
I haven't been in Dortmund long, and I enjoy our fans at home games. It's unbelievable what those 80,000 fans deliver on a regular basis. But I have to say, what I saw from the Magdeburg fans today was also impressive, and it was a great football occasion.
The game also delivered moments for those at the end of the long road. First, Rafael Guerrero celebrated his comeback after nearly half a year out injured.
I'm delighted to be able to play again. I feel good and have no problems anymore. I hope I can keep going now. Cup games are always difficult, but we dealt with the task comfortably today.
Normalement, tous les matchs de coupe sont difficiles et aujourd'hui on a réussi à contourner ces difficultés.
The comeback nature of the evening was complete when a few moments later, André Schürrle also returned from his time on the sidelines. The best of the rest were linked to goals. Gonzalo Castro, who came on for the injured Mo Dahoud, broke the deadlock with the opener in the 42nd minute with his first touch.
I was immediately in the right place. It was great work from Andre and Alex, and then it wasn't too difficult to put the ball in the net.
One man that won't forget the evening is Alex Isak. First he set up the opener just before the break, then the 18-year-old talent made it 2-0 just after the restart with his first goal for BVB.
The opening goal shortly before the break and the second after the restart helped. We played nice football after that until the end.
This nice football delivered 3 more moments. First, Andrei Yarmolenko scored from the spot in his first cup game for Borussia to make it 3-0. Marc Bartra has long had the taste for a goal, and the Spaniard who scored in the first round added his name to the score sheet with this wonderful header to make it 4-0. The best combination play of the day was finished off by Shinji Kagawa to make it 5-0. The final piece of action from a focused performance. 2 back heels in the build-up.
It was a difficult game. We knew it would be before because they beat Augsburg 2-0. It was really important to take such a positive performance into the next few weeks of tricky fixtures.
The only unsavoury moment of the cup evening came with the draw for the next round. Shortly before Christmas, BVB will face Bayern München again. And of course, once again in Munich. Without a doubt, the toughest possible tie. But let us remember, last season that's exactly where we picked up the entrance ticket for the final in Berlin. So, do it once again, lads. Whether it's the first team or the youth team, derby victories over Schalke are always something very special. And it tastes even better when the win is a resounding one at that.
That was one of our best performances of the season so far. We hadn't claimed the 3 points in the big games until now, but today the boys deserved the win. We were clinical up front and worked hard in defence. All credit to the team.
The reigning German champions had made a slow start to the season, and in the match-up against the Blues, Schwarz-Gelb took a while to get into the game. Dominik Vanner had the first real chance after 15 minutes, but the left winger was inches away from giving BVB the lead. Half an hour in, and our number 11 went one better. Much better. A wonderful goal, and no better way to put your side in front.
I didn't think too much at the time. I got the ball, turned, saw the goal, and then had a shot without too much thought. So I was, of course, delighted to see the ball go in.
The opening goal was a sucker punch. The opponents were on the ropes. Benny Hoffman's team took full advantage and struck again just before half-time. Yassin Ibrahim did extremely well to set up Hüseyin Bulut, who scored with a striker's instinct. Neat turn, neat finish. 2-0 at the break and a huge step towards victory in the derby.
It was a confidence boost and gave the boys confidence in our plan. We took a lot of risks in our build-up play. I think you saw that on occasion. But still, the boys never gave up trying to find space. And when they did, we got our reward.
Schwarz-Gelb continued to dominate in the second half as well, launching several impressive attacks. Schalke were only conspicuous in a negative fashion. Goalscorer Bullet felt the full force of this foul. The Blues deservedly went down to 10 men. Borussia let their feet do the talking. Substitute Luca Kerr got the rub of the green after great individual work to make it 3-0. The game had been killed off. Not even a consolation goal in the last minute could change that. Dortmund were deserved winners in the derby.
It was important to show the competition that we're a force to be reckoned with again. We've tackled the situation head-on and turned the less-than-perfect start around. Hopefully, it will continue that way.
A highly successful day at the derby. The 3 points meant that Schwarz-Gelb leapfrogged their rivals from Gelsenkirchen in the table. One competitor down, more to follow.
A convincing win in the DFB Cup is followed by back to business in the Bundesliga. Game week 10, and Dortmund travel to the HDI Arena to take on Hannover 96. Zagadou stays in central defence after a good performance in the Cup, and the return of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang gives Peter Bosz some much-needed firepower up front. Mario Götze back in the starting lineup as well. Right from the get-go, Dortmund would be on the front foot. First chance of the game, Yarmolenko showing good upper body strength, and then almost finds Aubameyang. A toe poke away by Sorg. The only thing standing in between Aubameyang and Dortmund's first goal. Moving forward into the 18th minute now. Dortmund really controlling possession, controlling the start of the game. Hannover 96 looking to catch Dortmund out on the counter-attack. And it works well for them. A coming together between Felix Klaus and Roman Bürki would end up in a penalty for the home side. Whether or not it was one, ball was definitely well away from Klaus, but it wouldn't matter. An upward step, Jonatas, the Brazilian, finding the back of the net from the spot to give Hannover the early lead with 20 minutes gone. Just moments later, Dortmund would reply in exactly the fashion Peter Bosz would hope for. Great work by Pulisic, and he almost finds Aubameyang as well. The second time the talisman has been inches away from a tap-in. But Dortmund were not finished there. 27th minute. The pressure would keep piling on Hannover, and then Zagadou, the 18-year-old brought in from Paris, would find the back of the net, his first ever professional goal in the Bundesliga and for Dortmund. Great control, calm, cool and collected. Quite impressive for a man of such a young age. And just like that, Dortmund were back on level terms. Then good pressure by Pulisic in the 36th minute. The ball back for Yarmolenko, must score. What a miss that was for the Ukrainian. He can hardly believe it himself, and the replay doesn't make it any easier. Laid up on a silver platter, but sends it up and over. 39th minute of the game. Dortmund chasing, really on the front foot for large parts of the first half, but again the counter-attack would prove their undoing. As Bebu on the end of the Jonatas cross. The breakaway working to perfection. Bebu keeping himself just onside, and then catching Roman Burki wrong-footed going into half-time. Hannover would lead by 2-1. Shinji Kagawa on to replace Gonzalo Castro in the second. And right from the start of the second half, Dortmund with their first opportunity. Mario Götze with a brilliant run, couldn't find the pass though. Had 3 teammates to aim at. Mark Bartra probably the easiest option, couldn't find any of them though. But still, Dortmund would press for that equaliser. 52nd minute now, Kagawa out wide for Pulisic. Schmelzer there in support, good cross. Header away by Sane, falls for Yarmolenko! And the big man from the Ukraine makes up for that missed opportunity in the first half with an absolute scorcher in the second. Lovely technique, just waited for it to fall. And then picked his spot. And just like that, Dortmund were back to 2-2. But it was just one of those days, a day that started so well for Dan Axel Zagadou, would then turn into a nightmare, a straight red for the 18-year-old, and an unfortunate one as well. Simply coming together with Jonatas, the referee left with, well, no other option but to send him off. However, certainly not what the young man deserved, and as the red card wasn't bad enough, things would go from bad to worse. Felix Klaus with a, well, quite a fantastic free kick. As hard as that is to say, sometimes you have to take your hat off to a good goal, and that certainly was one. Hannover now 3-2 up with half an hour to go, but Dortmund would not let that bother them. They would try and try again. Pulisic forcing a great save from Schauner. And one good save at one end of the pitch would then mean trouble at the other. Martin Harnik, second half substitute with a ball through to Bebu. 1 goal for him already. Dortmund down to 10 men and playing with a lot of risk would pay the price, as Bebu would then rub salt in the wounds and seal the deal in the 86th minute. No one back apart from Bartra. Bebu with very little to do, picked his spots, and Roman Burki couldn't really do too much about that one. But there would be one more chance again. This time the ball would come back in from Niklas Füllkrug, and then a spectacular effort would be matched by an even better save from Roman Burki. But in the end, it was all too little, too late. Final score in the HDI Arena: Hannover 96-4, Dortmund 2, on a day where decisions and Lady Luck were simply not black and yellow.